How we doing today? Well, we're fired up to have finished number 13 today. 10 more than last year, which is just a blessing. Our kids have done a great job since our little pause. Prior to the pause, I don't know if I said this to you, we were testing just once a week, which got us. We should have been testing 3 times a week. We weren't. We've been testing 3 times a week since then. We haven't had a positive, not one, ever since the pause. So our kids have done a great job of buying in, and sometimes you get lax a little bit, and we did. And I think that new variant was going through Pittsburgh. I think it still is. Still about 400 new cases a day, which scares you. But our kids have stayed away from it and have managed to get through this far. So hoping to get to Saturday spring game. We'll have our spring draft tomorrow at around noon, I believe. We had a 137 play scrimmage on Saturday at Heinz Field, which was outstanding. Nice chilly November scrimmage. So it was good. A lot of good work. I think anytime you get 137 plays, there's going to be good and bad. But overall, when you look at the big picture, I think our kids got a lot of work done in that period of scrimmage, and just the little details that need to be fixed. You only can figure it out on game day. It was the offense won the scrimmage by a couple points, and played pretty well all day. The offense played well. Defense came back in some situational things near the end to bring it closer, but heck of a scrimmage. So questions?
Last week you mentioned the kickers. What did you see out of those guys on Saturday? Who's kind of pulling ahead in that battle?
It's still a tie. Still a tie. Something funny happened at practice today. Maybe I'll tell you after the spring game. But it's still about a tie right now, I think. I couldn't tell you. It's just too early to tell. But today maybe, you got a little bit of an indication of kind of where we were, at least for the spring game. So I think you'll see in the spring game, and then I'll kind of fill you in afterwards, because it was a pretty unique situation that happened today.
And along with kicker, where are a few areas where you're really watching some close competition on Saturday?
I think it's everywhere. I mean, obviously, Kenny Pickett won't take a lot of reps. So the quarterback position still, that backup role, the guy that's going to get the most reps when we get into fall camp is going to be critical. There's been a battle. I mean, it's a back and forth, and we'll kind of see what happens on game day. But I think the work we get in Heinz Field is critical. And, we'll get one more in there and kind of try to organize where we are. And again, but then it'll be another battle. It doesn't matter who wins the battle in the spring and the fall. It'll be another battle. Who won the battle during the summer when the coaches are out there. So that's a position. I think that tackle position continues to be a battle. I mean, Gonsalves, played well with Carter Warren and Gabe Hoy. And then Van Lin really had a nice scrimmage. Van Lin's played some center for us. He's played tackle for us. And so he's shown some good things as well. So, I mean, we got 4 offensive tackles that can play for us. I think there's a battle there. I tell you the other battle, I told, who did I say was the starting tailback at the beginning of spring? Vince Davis, right?
Yeah.
Not so fast. I shouldn't say, stuff like that. You sit there and declare something, and all of a sudden Izzy is really, coming on. And again, Vince still good back. But Izzy and Abanikana is getting after it. So we're happy with where he is. So there's a battle going on there. I sit there and declare a winner in the pre-spring ball. Maybe that lit a fire under Izzy, but he's played well. Defensively, I think there's a battle at the corner spot. I mean, AJ Woods is playing at a high level. Rashad Battle came in, made some really good plays Saturday. And then about Mathis, and about Marquez. So there's 4 really good corners we think out there. We're going to find out who those 2 starters are, probably in the fall.
Pat, we've talked about the tackles a little bit this spring, but how about the guards? I know you have Minor and Cradle. Is there anyone pushing those 2 guys?
Yeah, great question. Keldrick Wilson has been playing guard. He's gotten better. And Jason Collier's the other guy. And again, we can always flop one of those tackles in there, whether it be Carson or Matt Gonsalves, whoever that third odd man out is. But right now, when you look inside, it's been Keldrick, who's gotten a lot better than he was a year ago. I think, just playing in a Power 5 for another year, the development, he's bought in, and he's really tried to do it our way, which I think, I give him a lot of credit, because, you go to a different college for a few years and you kind of think this is the way it's done, and all of a sudden things change. and it's been a change for him as far as just the the way you do things and the way you practice and the how hard practice is. And I think that's been the biggest adjustment that he's made. So he's done a nice job. And Jason Collier keeps just making strides every day. He's 350 pounds. I mean, he's ginormous.
Pat, you mentioned Van Lin getting some work at center. It seems you guys are comfortable with how Owen is doing there. In terms of a backup center, I mean, is that where Van Lin could slot in, or who's been kind of handling those?
Yeah, I mean, we're happy with Owen. Owen's played well as well. Cradle could always go in there and do it. So we've had a few of them. Matter of fact, if you looked at center quarterback exchange, there might be 6 of them down there. I think Collier snaps as well. So we've got a lot of guys snapping and working. And we know Gonsalves has also done it. So, Drexel right now is the guy. Cradle could be the guy. I mean, I think, we've got depth on the offensive line, and we could, there's a lot of moving parts in there. So I feel pretty comfortable with, whatever happens in there, whoever's got to move in there, that we're much better. COVID helped us a lot last year. If you had to look at one positive from a, pandemic and a COVID season, is, guys had an opportunity to go start some games, whether it was Gonsalves and Carson Van Lin started against Clemson. Not what you want in an ideal world, certainly not what Kenny Pickett wanted, but, they got to get their feet wet in a big-time game.
What's impressed you most about Izzy? I mean, you said he's standing out. What has he really shown you?
We knew he could always run. You guys saw that practice 3 a year ago. I think the thing about Izzy is, he's picked up the pass protections. He's gotten a lot more mature that way as far as understanding, you can't just carry the ball and score touchdowns. You got to be able to protect our quarterback, and he's done that, I think, a lot better than he did a year ago. So he's picked up the mental part of it. Again, it's hard as a freshman. So he's big, he's fast, he's physical, he can catch the ball in the backfield. And, he's got some patience and got great vision. And I think, tailbacks set their blocks up as far as the way they attack the holes, and he's done a great job setting it up and finding the hole.
In terms of those other backs, I mean, A.J. Davis, Sibley, Daniel Carter, what have you seen out of those guys?
They've all gotten better. I mean, I think our run game has gotten better. If you just want to look at that, and, it's a tribute to all those guys. A.J. Davis has had a nice spring. I think it's the best A.J.'s looked since he's got here. Daniel Carter's been doing some great things. Sibley's been doing some good things. So, we've got a lot of guys back there. The 2 guys that, really shine right now are are Vince and Izzy. But those guys are all playing well and getting better. I'm happy with the progress at that position.
Pat, you have 2 new assistant coaches in your 13 practices in. What have you seen from those players kind of adjusting to their coaching style, and what have they kind of brought to the program so far?
I think both of them have brought, different energy. I think anytime, a new coach comes in, there's new ways of doing things. I mean, fundamentally and structurally, you're going to do things a lot of the ways you were doing it in the past because, the coordinators didn't change, but just a freshness. I mean, anytime it's someone new, it's a positive. I think, I'll start off with the receiver position. Coach Barron's brought just a different energy to those guys. I've never seen them block like they're blocking right now. They're playing their tail off of Coach Barron, and he's coaching his butt off. And I think that's the big thing. I just see the receivers playing with a little bit more of an attitude out there. They're making some contested catches. I saw, Jared Wayne come across the middle, the other day and catch a ball like that, in behind him, and then get probably 15 yards, after the catch. It was an incredible catch. But we're just seeing those guys make some big time plays, and they're playing loose and having fun. And he's made that room a little bit fun. And then, the linebacker position, Coach Manlack has done the same. I mean, again, it's different. I think our linebackers, if you ask them, they feel like they're getting a little bit different fundamental taught to them, which is always good. I mean, I think I always talk to our players, they all got tool belts on them, and someone's got a screwdriver and a hammer, but any new coach can bring you a new weapon to help you be a better football player is a bonus. And every coach has got a little bit different twist to some of the individual things that they know fundamentally and technically. And I think the kids say, shoot, I got this from Coach Harley, and, I'm getting this from Coach Manlack, and it's the same thing at the receiver position.
You have 6 guys who are out for the spring. I'm guessing you're probably limit what Kenny does on Saturday. Do you have anybody else that you'll hold out or limit on in the spring game?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, it'll come down to, decisions I got to make. But, Kenny definitely be limited. I know he'll want more than 3 plays, but he might just get 3 plays. I know Coach Whipple didn't want to play him at all. I was like, we got to play him. Hand it off 3 times, and run away. But, nobody wants to, get anybody hurt in the spring game. I mean, that's the number one priority is come out of there healthy. And there's some other guys I have an eye on that will try to limit their plays. That'll be critical. People don't want to draft somebody that's not going to play the whole game, but that'll be something we'll have to decide afterwards.
How is that draft working? Like with the format, I guess who's drafting and everything?
Yeah, we're going to do it the same thing. I'll pick head coaches at, probably a 4:00 staff meeting today. So I'll pick our head coaches. And then the head coaches will draft out the rest of the staff offensively and defensively. So we'll get a good even deal there. We'll draft out EJ. EJ will probably be a first-round draft choice. We'll draft out, really Celeste will probably be the number 1 draft choice. EJ probably won't be. RJ, I don't know what's going to happen with the sports info department there. He might be the odd man out. Someone's going to end up with 2 good ones, whoever picks first. But so we'll draft out the entire staff, and then tomorrow at noon, then once we draft the staff out, I guess then the coaching staff will draft out our super seniors. So our super seniors will be the ones. There'll be 12 super seniors getting drafted out. I'll tell you right now, Keyshawn can't practice today, super senior, but he's heading down to a funeral, so he won't be here this weekend. So he won't be involved in the super senior draft. He's got a funeral that is on Saturday. A grandfather passed away, so he'll be out of there if you're looking for him. I guess I give that to you early. So I know there's 12 super seniors, so it'll be really 6 guys choosing, the rest of the football team. And we'll draft it by position like we normally do, and that'll be on Zoom. And I think it's always interesting. I love to hear what the kids think and who they'd like to draft. Sometimes I think they're dead wrong, but it's some guys like someone that will hit you hard. But the mental part of the game is just as important or more important. You can hit somebody, but you better be in the right place.
Do you ever, I feel like, I forget if we've talked to you about this before around these drafts, but have you ever given thought to drafting the O-line as a unit, draft the 1, draft the 2? Because it seems like some of these years the offense can't really get going in the spring game because the O-line's kind of jumbled up a little bit.
Yeah, we thought about it. Then when you look at COVID, sometimes you got to play, near different guys. I hate to draft it out that way because I like to, who do you want to pick? Pick your best player. And I think it's an eye opener for some players to say, okay, why did I get picked there? Okay. I want our guys to know, who's valued by their teammates, not just their coaches. Because as coaches, we can set the depth chart and put it in there. What do they feel? What do they, who do they want to pick? Who do they want on the field with them? So we've thought about it, Chris. I mean, it's not a bad way to do it, but we'll mix and match it and play a game.
Coach, I had a chance to talk to the new ACC commissioner today, Jim Phillips. He's familiar with you, coming from Northwestern. Did you get a chance to meet him face to face over the past weekend, and your impressions?
Yeah, Larry, Jim is an outstanding, person. I'm excited that he is our new commissioner. He really gets it. I think that the first thing is he's been an athletic director. He's been in Heather's position. He knows what every athletic director in the ACC is thinking. He's a listener. He wants to find out, hey, what can we do better as an ACC? We couldn't have hired a better guy, period. I think the ACC will just continue to rise. It's already in a great position. We already compete for championships. And also congratulations to Coach Fisher on that Elite 8 run that they had the other day. Unfortunate, yesterday, watched the tail end of that 5th round, I guess, whatever you call it. But heck of a year by them. But, Jim Phillips is an outstanding person. And again, we had a chance to sit down in my office for about a half hour. So we're going to have dinner together as well. So it was a great visit.
Pat, Tazier Mack was talking to us about some of the younger receivers that he's been seeing popping up, and he said that Jalen Barden's really impressed him just with his explosiveness and speed. What have you seen from the younger receivers in that room that you said Coach Marion's been working with?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen's played well. I mean, Gavin Thompson had a great day the other day, but Jalen, we saw Jalen last year. He's fast. He's like a Jordan Addison, another guy that can really roll. And if you got Jalen and Tazier on one side and Jordan wherever, I mean, with Tazier back on the field, we've got some weapons at the wideout position that are interesting. Try to think of other young guys that are showing up. I mean, that's probably the youngest guy that we have in here. We don't have any new guys at receiver, I believe, mid-year. So he'd be your baby. Will Gibson's made some strides. He's still up and down. He'll have a great play, make a play, and then all of a sudden you're like, what did you just do there? So he's still up, but he's much better. He's improved from what he's been. Any other questions?
Go ahead, Jim.
Okay. I think last week it wasn't quite finalized with the dead period ending on June 1st, and I think that passed a little later last week. I mean, I know official visits can happen in June. Are you planning on having any like prospect camps, and what's the excitement level for you to maybe have the opportunity to host players and see them in person before recruiting them?
Yeah, we've got our June calendar pretty much set. We can add things. But the big thing is, we will definitely have camps. Okay. They're going to be mostly for the young kids. I mean, if you're a 2022 grad, you can come on campus, and the NCAA pretty much said every day can be a camp for a 2022 grad. So they can come on campus and we can work with them for an hour. So if you're a 2022 grad, why would you pay to come to camp when you can come for free? So the NCAA basically put our staff out for hire for free for the entire June month, which is great for the 22 class. So really our camps that we'll have will be rising star camps, the 23 class, 24, 25. So I think that's huge. We'll have 3, maybe 4 official visit weekends, and we'll have a couple camps in between. So we're allowed to have 10. We may even head on the road, if the dates match up with our schedule, and do some satellite camps. So we're excited. I would say, most of our staff has been vaccinated, so we've got our vaccines and we're ready to roll.
Pat, on the other end of that, if you don't mind me asking, because after the game Saturday, we'll have a lot of questions. What's it like for you on draft weekend, NFL draft weekend, and seeing guys you work with for years get that next opportunity?
It's a lot of fun. I think it's anxious. I think, I was just talking to Jimmy Morris. He was at practice today, and just talking, there's all, people talk about, hey, he's going to be this round, that round, and there's nobody really knows. It's such a crazy draft. I'm not a big draft guy. I'm going to watch it because I want to see where my guys are going. But, when the first round goes and we don't have anybody go, it's kind of like, and it's just a tough process. I think it's tougher on our kids, obviously, than it is, on me for sure. Nobody's going to feel sorry for me having to deal with the stress of when are they going to get drafted and why that guy get drafted. Our guy's better than that guy. And we can have everybody's got opinions. But I think it's a tough day for everybody. And, and it'll be the same thing Saturday. I don't think I've ever been to one that you weren't going, why did it happen like that? I'll go back to Dane Jackson. Still can't believe what round he was drafted in. It's just kind of like, you sit there all day wondering, like, when is it going to happen? So you sit there glued to a TV going, it's going to be 5th round. Then you're going 6th, and then it's 7th, and you're going, how the heck is this happening? So, but I'm excited for our kids. All they want is an opportunity. They're all going to have an opportunity to play in the league. We got some great football players, and there'll be some free agents out there as well. So I'm excited for them and their opportunities that will come in 2 weeks.